Welcome, everyone. Today, we will explore how Stirling number counts become probabilities for exactly k cycles in a random permutation, with a hands-on example for n equals 5. When you shuffle, encrypt, or randomize, you are secretly sampling a permutation, and one simple question matters. How many cycles does it typically break into? Today, we will use Stirling numbers of the first kind to predict the probability of exactly k cycles, starting from the familiar idea that every permutation splits into disjoint cycles, and then we will compute a real probability for n equals 5 step by step. Our bridge from last lecture is the cycle picture. You can break any permutation into loops that do not overlap, and that decomposition is unique up to reordering the cycles.
So, SNUT is not just an abstract number, it literally counts how many permutations have exactly k cycles.
Exactly, and the leap today is, if every permutation is equally likely, then those counts immediately turn into probabilities. Our main target is the probability of exactly 2 cycles when n equals 5. Here is the surprise. For n equals 5, the most likely number of cycles is not 1 and not 5, but 2. Uniform random permutation just means we are choosing one of the 5 factorial permutations with equal chance, so probability is counting divided by 5 factorial.
Wait, so 2 cycles means the permutation splits into exactly 2 loops whose lengths add to 5, like a 2 cycle plus a 3 cycle or a 1 cycle plus a 4 cycle?
Yes. Instead of listing cases by hand, we let Stirling numbers do the bookkeeping. S52 is exactly how many permutations land in that event. To compute these probabilities, we need a fast way to build n-say from smaller n, and the recurrence comes from thinking about what happens to the element n. This formula splits permutations of size n into 2 stories. Either n starts its own new one, cycle, or n gets inserted into an existing cycle which creates n-1 possible insertion spots.
So the plus term is, first make a permutation on n-1 elements with k-1 cycles, then let n be a fixed point as its own cycle?
Exactly. And the big idea is that insertion does not change the number of cycles, it just makes one cycle longer. That is why the first term keeps k the same and multiplies by n-1. Now we run the recurrence like a small machine. To get S52, we first need 2 numbers from the n equals 4 row. Here we are using the recurrence twice. For n equals 4, the multiplier is 3, and we plug in the known n equals 3 values. There are 3 permutations of size 3 with 2 cycles, and 2 permutations with 1 cycle.
So already with 4 elements, 2 cycles shows up 11 times out of 24. That feels pretty common.
Right, and for 1 equals 6, which matches the fact that a single 4 cycle can be arranged in 3 factorial ways. Now we have exactly what we need to jump to n equals 5. Now we do the n equals 5 step and immediately convert the count into a probability by dividing by 5 factorial. This line is the whole punchline. The recurrence gives 50 permutations of 1 through 5 with exactly 2 cycles. And dividing by 120 total permutations gives 5 over 12, about 0.417.
Wow, so 2 cycles is actually almost half the time. That really is the most likely outcome, not just a rare pattern.
And pictorially, 2 cycles on 5 elements can only split as 1 plus 4 or 2 plus 3. Stirling numbers automatically account for all the different ways those loop structures can occur. To see why 2 cycles wins, let us lay out every probability for n equals 5 and compare them side by side. These 5 numbers are the cycle count distribution. 1 cycle means a single 5, cycle 5 cycles means the identity, and you can see the peak sits at 2 cycles.
So my earlier guess was right. For n equals 5, 2 cycles is the most likely, even more likely, than 1 big cycle.
And a great reliability check is that the underlying counts add to 120, which means we really partitioned the whole sample space by number of cycles. There's a deeper pattern behind that peak. The average number of cycles grows very slowly like a harmonic number. This statement says the expected cycle count is the harmonic number. So as n grows, cycles increase, but painfully slowly compared to n itself.
That explains the distribution. The mean is about 2.28, so landing at 2 cycles is not weird at all. It is right near the center.
Yes. The approximation by the natural log is why we say most permutations have a moderate number of cycles. Even at n equals 1000, the typical cycle count is only around 7. Let us stitch the story together. What we counted last time becomes a probability distribution today. Uniform randomness makes the translation immediate. Favorable permutations divided by total permutations. Stirling numbers supply the favorable counts for each k.
And the recurrence is really a story about the new element, either starting a new loop or being spliced into an old loop.
Exactly. That is why the distribution does not pile up at 1 cycle or at n cycles. Most permutations land in the middle, and that middle drifts upward only logarithmically. Quick check that you can use the idea and explain the intuition behind the harmonic growth. From the Stirling triangle, S43 equals 6 and 4 factorial equals 24. So the probability is 6 over 24, which simplifies to 1 over 4.
Is the idea that when you add the new element, it only sometimes becomes its own new cycle, and that chance is about 1 over n?
Yes. In the recurrence story, the new element either starts a new cycle or it gets inserted into an existing cycle. That new cycle event has probability 1 over n, so on average, the expected cycle count increases by about 1 over n, and summing those increments gives the harmonic number. Thanks for watching this. Subscribe to Thinking in Math channel for this and other interesting math topics. And we always welcome your feedbacks. Leave your questions and suggestions in the comments.